Hey guys, Joe here at JP Details, and today we're going to be giving the interior of the Focus a seriously good seeing to. We are going to be going absolutely OCD with this car, so I'm sure it goes without saying that the front seats need to be removed. With all seats fitted to a vehicle, front and back, we'll leave hidden areas underneath the subframes where a vacuum is never going to reach. Your cleaning products are also not going to be able to hit these areas, and over time these areas will become heavily soiled, and worst of all, it will more than likely turn mouldy. Nobody wants any type of fungal growth on their interiors, and if you happen to watch the recent videos on the Focus, then you should have gathered that I am being rather obsessive. Not only the carpet area but also the centre console section closest to the seat base bolster is an area that's out of reach whilst the seats are still fitted. The front seats themselves, which you will see shortly, are pretty grubby, and by taking them out is going to allow for a much more thorough cleaning process for the interior carpet, centre console and the seats. You may think I am absolutely barking mad at this point, but I am also taking out the rear interior panels, and whilst I'm at it, I may as well give them a good clean. It's surprising how much dust and dirt gathers behind these panels, but you do need to remove them in order to take the carpet out. If you haven't watched any of the recent Focus videos, then just to make you aware, I am turning the car into a track inspired example. One of the many tasks for today's video is to remove as much of the sound deadening as I can, and by the time I finished I must have saved around 15 kilograms. The carpet is being removed to allow a deep cleaning process, and also by doing this is going to allow me to remove the sound deadening that's underneath it. The carpet and rear panels will be going back in as I don't fancy having it fully stripped, but everything is going to be immaculately clean. I gave the carpet a thorough vacuum, paying particular attention to the areas around the front subframes, quite simply to remove the loose bits of debris. I wasn't concerned about removing 100% of the debris at this stage, because whilst taking the carpet out and those rear panels, I knew it would become slightly dusty once again. With the carpet out of the car, I pre-treated all areas with a strong dilution of Valet Pro Enzyme Odor Eliminator. This product is going to kill 99.9% of bacteria and remove every last trace of all nasty odours. The entire carpet was sprayed down with a generous amount of product, and I thoroughly worked it into the fabric using a Sonax upholstery brush. At this point I did wonder why I haven't bought a drill and brush attachment yet, as it would have made my life 10 times easier. Regardless of my ill-equipped preparation, I gave every last area of the fabric a thorough scrub down whilst paying particular attention to the high wear areas. Not forgetting those other areas that you wouldn't usually be able to get to whilst the carpets are still fitted, such as around the front subframes. With the carpet pre-treated, thoroughly agitated, allowed to dwell for 1 hour, whilst attending some other tasks, the carpet was given a wet vac extraction to draw out as much of the dirt and grime from deep beneath the carpet's pile. I filled the George pneumatic wet and dry vacuum with boiling hot water to aid in breaking down the dirt and debris particles and to offer a slightly deeper clean. I must admit at this stage I did realise that I may have applied way too much of the Odor Eliminator product, or quite possibly a stupidly strong dilution of the product. The soap kept coming out of the fabric material, and I had to settle with leaving some of the suds behind. It won't be the worst thing in the world, as I do plan to hang the carpet up for a few days to allow it to fully dry, and the Valet Pro Enzyme Odor Eliminator product will continue to work until it's fully dried out. A similar process was carried out to the Recaro CS seat, and I am going to make a dedicated video about this product as to not drag this video out. I will answer the common question of how to safely deep clean Alcantara fabric, although I'll give you a little secret, it's exactly the same as treating ordinary fabric, but you do need to be a little more careful. I utilised the Gravitas heated blower to partially help with drying the carpet and to blow out as much of the final Deadening debris. The blower stage did prove crucial as it did help to loosen up some of the more stubborn debris, and it did help me to achieve a stunning end result for the carpet. The carpet was hung up to dry for 3 days with the heater and dehumidifier left on in the unit, and in the meantime I set about cleaning each of the interior rear panels. I used Sam's Detailing interior detail and a Swissvax detail brush after finding a comfy seat on the sofa for my conveyor belt cleaning stage. One trim done, it was stacked to the right, then the next dirty piece grabbed from the left. I don't plan on taking the interior panels out of the car at any point, so I decided to make the most of this opportunity to get the Focus's interior absolutely spotless. I did spend quite a bit of time cleaning these panels, but it was nice to see when I had finished a neatly stacked pile of obsessively cleaned interior panels. Sam's Detailing interior detailer, by the way, did an incredible job. I gave the floor mats an initial vacuum to remove the loose stuff and set about applying the Valet Pro Enzyme Odor Eliminator product. With the mats sufficiently dosed in the product, or perhaps absolutely saturated, I used my Tough Shine tire brush to give them a good old scrub down. The floor mats do take the brunt of the damage, so I did spend quite a bit of time giving them a seriously good going over. I could see a brown soapy colour change midway, which was more prominent on the driver's mat. When my OCD was satisfied, the mats were taken outside and given a seriously thorough jet wash. There was an incredible amount of soapy suds coming from the mats, which in areas was a rather dirty brown. Once again, just like the big carpet piece, I had left the product to dwell inside the mats for around an hour before rinsing, just to ensure that any nasty odours had been completely eliminated. Now that we have the large carpet piece hanging up to dry, with the addition of the sparkling clean yet soaking floor mats, before putting the interior panels back in, I set about my next task, which is to remove the sound deadening. These are essentially rubber sheets that get stuck down onto various sections of the inner chassis, quite simply to reduce the noise that comes into the cabin. A heat gun and a DIY paint scraper were used, and you may need to grit your teeth because I did gouge a few marks into the chassis. It was the only way that I was able to remove the weighty sound deadening, and like I mentioned earlier, all interior trim apart from the back seats are going back in, so these areas will be getting covered up. If I do go ahead and completely strip out the interior in the future for a hardcore track inspired example, then the inner chassis will get totally repainted. I want to see how I get on with the sound deadening removed, and I do want to save as much weight as I can without going overboard. As it currently stands, the inner chassis is essentially primed, but for those purists out there, I did suffer a bit of karma. I burnt myself on 3 occasions from the heat gun, however I call them love wounds whilst getting to know my pride and joy. I spent 4 hours in total removing the sound deadening, and with various other bits of sound insulating foam that I found dotted around and squashed into the recesses of the interior chassis, I found myself with 2 full carrier bags of the stuff that must have weighed around 15 kilograms. After the messy sound deadening removal task was finished, I gave the interior a detailed vacuum and clean with Sam's Detailing interior detailer. There are still a few sections of the sound deadening around the corners of the chassis, but these areas turned out to be next to impossible to remove. They must have been a slightly different type of material to the other stuff, and without having any dry ice available, I settled for removing 80% of it. I am hoping that with the minimal weight reduction here and there, combined with a few other things that I have got planned, is going to aid in the final power to weight ratio figure. I must add that I have taken various other things out of the car, including the rear wiper mechanism, all interior seatbelts, the seatbelt mounting point and the rear seats. If I were to take a stab in the dark, then I guess the weight saving is currently above 150 kilograms. I've got my eyes on some lighter wheels, Sparco fixed bucket seats and an aircon delete. By the time I'm finished, I reckon I will be in for some decent weight reduction. I do plan to get the car weighed to see how much it's lost against the factory weight, which will be done when all work has been completed. At long last, everything is clean, which took me the best part of 3 full days. The next task, which did turn out to be quite frustrating, time consuming and satisfying at the same time, was putting the interior back together. Panel by panel the interior came back to life, but this time it was super clean. If there was one thing that this car was screaming out for, was a ridiculously overboard detail, which gladly is now in full swing. The only dodgy area on the interior now that the carpet and interior panels have been fitted is the exposed centre section of the chassis where the rear boot carpet doesn't quite meet the interior cabin carpet. I bought myself some black fabric from eBay and took some measurements before cutting a similar size section out. I quite literally fixed the cutout fabric section in place and drew a template around the base of the roll cage. I then cut the fabric as I went, and before I knew it, the fabric was sitting well enough to cover the exposed sections of the chassis. It isn't 100% perfect, but it's 10 times better than before. With the left hand side correctly cut to size, I set about gluing it down with some Screwfix multi-purpose spray adhesive. I had some tar and glue remover at the standby for any stray glue residue, and it was needed on a few occasions. With both sides of the fabric glued down to my own satisfaction, I set about giving the incredibly clean interior carpet a final vacuum before protecting it with Deadening i1 Smart Fabric. This product from the well-known Deadening brand is a protectant for all types of fabric materials, and with good application will last for 3 years. In total, I used 1 litre of the product to protect all fabric materials on the interior, which may have been a tad excessive. The fabric should now bead water just like the paintwork will when it's all ceramic coated. With your incredibly clean, dirt-free and completely dry carpets, fabric or upholstery, you will want to spray a generous amount of the i1 product directly to your first section. I would usually treat 1/4 of the car at a time, but with no seats fitted allowed me to cover both of the driver's side footing areas at the same time. When the product has been applied to your select working section, I personally use Auto Finesse spritz to wipe down the nearby plastic surfaces. Obviously, when you are applying the fabric guard, you are going to want to protect all areas of the fabric, which does mean that some product will eventually land on the plastic or surrounding surfaces. Immediately take your interior detailer or all-purpose cleaner and wipe over those affected panels. If you don't, the fabric guard will dry like glue and it will leave very noticeable stains on any hard surface. After the plastics have been wiped down, I wipe across all areas of the fabric to work the fabric guard into the fibres. This technique will ensure that the fabric guard does not dry in clumps on top of your fabric, and also by wiping down all areas you will actually get to feel that all parts of the fabric are protected. Let's say for example you missed a spot in a corner whilst applying the product, and when you do rub your hand across it, you should feel that that missed area is far catchier in comparison to the smooth and wet treated sections. If there did happen to be a section that you missed and you did wipe over it with your wet glove, you have then spread the product and treated the missed section successfully. When this initial process is complete, I'll move to the next section and apply the product using the same technique. After this next section is complete, I will then wipe over that previous section one last time, just to make sure that all fabric guard has been worked into the fibres. Sometimes you will find that the initial wipe over is enough and no excess product is sitting in bubbles on top of the fabric. However, if you do go OCD like myself and apply as much as I did, which isn't a bad thing, you will probably need to wipe over the fabric twice with a few minutes in between. I completed this technique over the complete interior, and I must warn you now, you need to wear a mask. This product is incredibly potent and it will leave you lightheaded within a few seconds. It sure is a relief to have the Focus looking back like a car again, and a relatively well organised unit due to not having various Focus parts lying around. Not forgetting a clean and protected interior that I doubt could be beaten in any sense of the word. I put the Recaros back in after they were given a deep clean, although I have recently bought a set of Sparco Evo 2 QRT fixed back bucket seats, although they aren't ready to go in just yet, as I need to make a few modifications to the Sparco subframes. A quick install of a complete interior white LED conversion bulb kit, which has made a nice difference in comparison to the yellow bulbs that are fitted as standard. All in, I spent 3.5 days doing the previously mentioned tasks, and I am very happy that I finally put my own stamp on the interior. There is now officially no trace of any previous occupant. The dashboard, front door cards, centre console, headlining and steering wheel, i.e. everything that wasn't treated in today's video, has recently been cleaned with the Enzyme Odor Eliminator product and dressed with Auto Finesse Spritz. The interior windows, glass and dials have recently been cleaned, but with the imminent installation of the new seats, harnesses, a fire extinguisher, full polybush kit, OMP steering wheel, 3 strut braces, 2 new tyres, gearbox torque mount and an engine stabiliser, I'm going to finish off the interior detail with a basic maintenance detail when I get the car back from the garage. I want this car to showcase what the true top end of detailing can involve, so let this vehicle be the flagship in obsessive compulsive detailing. Granted, not many full paying customers would opt for such a crazy detail, and taking into account that a few of today's tasks were specific to my own requirements, but I do hope that you did enjoy watching just what can be done in terms of cleaning and protecting the interior of a vehicle. As always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already for plenty more content. Feel free to follow me on Facebook and Instagram, just search JP Details, and I'll hopefully catch you in the next one.